Grief is not just an emotion. It's neurological. When we lose someone, several brain systems interact. Yes, this is science. And the hippocampus is the part of our brain which holds factual memories. Then there's the amygdala, which processes emotions, and the nucleus, accumbens, which is linked to love, linked to bonding, and the longing that we feel inside of our hearts when we miss someone that we're no longer going to be able to be in contact with. See, when these three systems try to understand that this person is gone and you still love and long for them, this results in deep ache called grief. Welcome to Win-Win with Gwen, hosted by Gwendolyn Shores, author, inspirational speaker, transformational coach, and CEO of Minds Above Matters. This is the podcast where your dreams ignite, limits shatter, and action leads to the life that you deserve. Your breakthrough starts now. If you're ready to heal, if you're ready to win over and over and over again, I want to welcome you to Win-Win with Gwen, because this is the podcast where we don't just grow, we transform. And today's episode is one I believe that everyone needs, whether you're currently grieving or if you're preparing your soul to someday face the inevitable thing called loss. So yes, today we are going to be diving deep into the science of grief. I'll explain how our brains, our bodies, how they respond to losing someone or something we deeply love. That might be a person, a relationship, a pet, a job, or a version of ourselves, or even a dream that just did not come to pass. We have those things happen, but we're not just here to talk about it. We're here to walk the walk that we talk. We're going to be equipped today. We're going to leave here with tools that are backed by neuroscience and psychology. And this is going to help you move through grief without having to lose the most important person to you, and that is self. You're not going to have to lose yourself any longer. So let's discuss what happens when that brain is grieving. We're going to get ready to talk about the science of it all. Because look, grief is not just an emotion. It's neurological. When we lose someone, several brain systems interact. Yes, this is science. And the hippocampus is the part of our brain which holds factual memories. Then there's the amygdala, which processes emotions, and the nucleus, accumbens, which is linked to love, linked to bonding, and the longing that we feel inside of our hearts when we miss someone that we're no longer going to be able to be in contact with. See, when these three systems try to understand that this person is gone and you still love and long for them, this results in deep ache called grief. See, our brains are searching for someone who no longer exists in a way in which we once knew them. The memory is there, but the physical body or thing is not there. And this confuses. It's called a neural circuitry, and it creates an emotional pain. It creates us to have sleep disturbances, even physical symptoms like fatigue and headaches. This thing called grief is real. And our brains don't know what to do with it. But today we're learning what to do with it and how it works and why it happens. So this leads me to discuss the differences between grief versus depression. It's important that we know the difference because look, these two things, they can really feel very similar, but they're not the same. No, they are not the same because grief is a natural response to a loss, where depression is a clinical condition. Let me repeat that. Grief is a natural response to a loss. And depression, it's a clinical condition. So I don't know if you could rewind this and write that down, because I need you to be sure that you understand the differences when it comes to grief and depression. See, grief, it can evolve into depression if we don't do the work that it takes to get over the grief, to work through the grief biologically and emotionally. I always said you've got to do the work. And this is the case here. You've got to do the work. So here's how to tell the difference if you're actually dealing with grief or or depression. So let me give you some more details on that. In grief, your sadness is connected to memories and meanings. But here's the catch. When you're dealing with depression, the sadness becomes generalized and you connect your identity to it, and it becomes damaging. You may start to feel worthless, numb, like you don't have good value. You just start to tear yourself down, and you can start to hurt yourself or causing deeper problems. So if you are grieving, that's great. But if your grief is turning towards hopelessness or isolation, you need to seek help. So listen to this. I have to ask, what are you waiting for if you're at that stage? Take the next step and seek help. But for those of you who are not at that point and you're still at the grieving point, continue to listen to this. But if you're not, go get some help. This video is not going to help you. You're going to need some help from a professional doctor. So if you're still here and you're not one of those that had to leave and go find help, listen to this. Grief, the loss, it matters. But I also want to remind you of something powerful, and that is your God. He is infinite mercy. He gave us the ability to have more than just memories. He gave us a system of remembrance, a divine ability to still see our loved ones in our dreams, in our smiles, in the way someone else walks or laughs, and our grandkids, our children, our nieces, our nephews. We can see those people inside of them. And grace. That's God saying, you will never truly be without them. It's not a coincidence. It's grace. You see, grief doesn't erase love. It magnifies it. And our Creator is so freaking intentional. He knew our hearts would need touch points, glimpses of echoes of the ones we miss. He gave us the power to dream, to feel, to recognize pieces of them in others, and to carry them forward, not as a burden, but as a beautiful part of who we have become, who we are to become, part of the people and things around us that are connected to their memory. They are never gone. They will always be with us. So let's talk tools and not cliches. A healthy tool when it comes to healing is to take out the time to go inside and literally remap the relationship. The goal isn't to move on. The goal is to move forward. And we can do this. We can do this. You got this. But you only gonna have this if you keep emotional connection while understanding physical absence. Even though you can't physically see them, I'm out of water. With your eyes, you can actually go inside your mind's eyes. In other words, you're able to picture them in your mind, and you can still talk to them. The person that you lost can still be talked to. Another thing you can do is write that person a letter. You can celebrate them. You can celebrate their important dates. There's nothing wrong with celebrating them, but you don't want to do it and start to turn on that switch where you're celebrating them crying, you're depressed, you're sad. Switch on the happy switch in your mind, because you have the ability to switch either one on. You have the power within you to be happy or to be sad. There's a yin, there's a yang, there's an opposite of everything in life. So your brain has the ability to switch on a thought that I'm going to embrace this person. I'm going to love this person. I choose to celebrate their memory at the highest vibrational points using love, smiles, laughter. You have this choice. When you choose to be sad or when you are sad, that is a choice. You've got to do the work to bring you out of the sadness. That's what I'm talking to you about. You have the ability to choose happiness. And when you choose happiness, this helps the brain to recognize love in a healthy way, to recognize that person's memory in a healthy, positive manner. So trust in yourself and know that you have the ability to control your brain, to control switching it on to happiness out or sadness. God has given us the ability to have a memory, to remember the absence, but understand that person is sacred. That doorway, you should never live without the ones you love. That is not a closed doorway. That's an open door for always having the ability to remember them. Sleep is another powerful tool that we can use. You see, your brain needs restorative sleep to process emotions. I've been down the road where I was sad. See, I had lost my mother to ovarian cancer. And I remember not being able to sleep. I took all kinds of sleep aids, but they didn't help me sleep. So I kept digging and digging and digging to find things that could help me sleep. Now, for me, I started taking magnesium baths, Epsom salt baths with magnesium. I started taking magnesium. And it put me to sleep. Now that's what worked for me. Now I don't want you to try any of the things that I just mentioned unless you check with your doctor. I don't know what these things will have or what effect these will have on your health. So please seek a doctor first because I'm not a doctor. I'm a transformational coach. I'm an author. I'm a mother. I'm a lot of things, but a doctor I am not. So like I said, I took a bath in this magnesium and I took magnesium pills. And another thing I did was I stopped looking at my phone probably about 60 to 90 minutes before bed, more so 90 minutes, I think it was. I stopped looking at my phone and I actually saw babies sleeping on the weighted blankets and I bought myself a weighted blanket because I thought that might be something good. And I used it and it gave me comfort. It really, truly gave me comfort. So while I was under the weighted blanket, I listened to very positive, uplifting music, speeches, books. I listened to really powerful books that were uplifting. And those things helped me overcome the grief that I was feeling. So I wanted to share those things with you because, yes, those things work for me. They may work for you. So try it. If, again, check with your doctor. During grieving, it is important that we build biological resilience because your daily habits matter. So something else I did, I started to wake up in the morning and pull my curtains open my blinds so that I can get that morning sunlight. I can remember how it hit my skin and just changed my mood altogether. Also, I don't care if it's outside or indoors, set your timer for 10 minutes of movement because look, walking actually helps reset your mood. Eating is important also. Some people can't eat when they're grieving, but you're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to push yourself to make sure that you are eating. Again, I didn't have a problem eating. I've never had a problem eating, but there are some of you all that haven't because I witnessed my friends and my family members have problems eating and they are losing weight. Some of them who are overweight and they're happy, but here's what's important about eating when you're grieving. Eating regulates and balances cortisol. And cortisol is very important for stress and for sleep. I also started praying. I always pray, but I pray more than ever. I started breathing exercises and meditation because all of these help with stress. They are stress controls. I remember I didn't know a lot about breathing techniques, so I started looking up things. And what I did find, and I tried, was a breathing exercise called box breathing. Now, let me explain to you what box breathing is. So, what I did was I took a deep inhale for 4 seconds and I held it for 4 seconds. I exhaled it 4 seconds and then I repeated that again. And let me give you a little tip on what I did when it came to meditation, because meditation was new to me as well. I also looked that up online and I began to use guided meditation apps because that's what it told me to go to the apps on my phone and get the app which was called Calm and Insight Timer. So I use calm. That's the one I use. But again, you can use any one you want. I'm not getting paid to say that. It's just what I use. And let me tell you, you are not alone. I got to remind you of that. You are not broken. You have the ability to decide that you're not alone, that you're not broken. Grief is not a flaw. It is a function of love. And baby, we don't grieve deeply unless we have love deeply. And that's sacred. That's human. Embrace the fact that you're grieving and understand that it's normal. I also want you to remember this. You can hurt and heal at the same time. You can cry and still be courageous. You can miss them and still be strong enough, powerful enough to move forward. There is nothing you can't do when you put your mind to it. If you're grieving right now, I honor your heart. And if you're not, and you're just listening right now, and you're not going through the grieving process, I'm going to ask you to hold a space in a prayer for someone who is. Guys, there's professional resources and people that are ready to help you navigate through your grief, through your depression. Check out our episode description for hotline links, and counseling support, because I've provided that because you matter so much to me, and I just want to see you win in every part of your life. I want to thank you for being a part of Win-Win with Gwen today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And remember, like I always say, you've got to do the work. And if you're tuning in every week, I just want to say, I see you. I love you. I celebrate your growth, and I need you to give yourself a high five, each and every one of you, because you deserve it, because you are doing work. Now make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Win-Win with Gwen. And until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, and keep winning, because it's always a win-win with Gwen. I love you guys, and I will see you guys same time, same place this Friday. Keep doing the work. I'm so proud of you.